But about our place, we, like so many farmers in Surrey, Stokes, in the area, uh, jumped into the initiative to grow hemp. Uh, it was really my husband's idea because he's the grower. He's
Hey,
sitting right here. This is Tony Durham, and I'm Carey
Hey, Tony.
Zuris-Durham.
hey, how you?
And they were right that the tobacco soil and tobacco elements for growing tobacco are perfect for hemp or cannabis. And we were very grateful that Trump signed the Farm Bill. In the end of 2017, well, in October, my late husband died December 6th. And the one thing I wanted for him was CBD, but it was not legal. So when I found out that we could now grow hemp, it was a great idea. And I use CBD every day. It's great for me. It's my testimony for anxiety, um, pain relief, and balance and focus. Focus that I get in my coffee because I roast coffee beans, green coffee beans, and canna butter, which I make. My husband is the grower. He does all the work out in the field, harvesting. I help with that, but he's the guy, and it gets help. But you know, uh, we're kind of just a very small operation, and
We do all our extractions of it. We extract the oil, we make the salve, we got bug spray, we got everything. We got dog treats. Um,
I
and
do edibles, and the edibles I think is the best way to introduce um, folks to CBD. It's a very mild dosage, and people do confirm when I say you may want to have this after your evening meal, and you'll be surprised how well you sleep. And they come back and say, "Yeah, it was the best sleep I had." Because just a little bit is great for sleep, and the higher dosage you go, it's better for daytime focus and taking care of issues. We have patients who are doing chemo or some kind of cancer treatment that come in and they want the very high dose. And we're able to do that with our CBD, our hemp. Uh, we have probably the highest that we know about as far as CBD content. Um, we started out first year, we were well over 18%. And this year, CBD, we're at 21.48 or 22.79
that's right.
for all the cannabinoid that's in there. And when we look online at other real retailers, 16, 17, 18 is about the most you're going to get.
So we're the highest in the state, and probably California too, because they ain't got no numbers like that. Not for CBD.
Now, we've asked the industrial hemp pilot program, Paul Adams, if he's said if there's higher, and he thinks so, but can't produce any information. So we go by our certificate of analysis, which we recommend everyone look at the COA from where you're buying, so you know what you're getting. And most people, like me, like most of everyone, you'd rather buy eggs locally. You'd rather buy things that the people, the quality, where you're getting it, and you experience that quality too. And buying locally is just a wonderful way to keep our economy going.
If hemp had been going for 100 years like it should, because we had hemp 100 years ago in pop, but we wouldn't have all this plastic we have now if we had hemp.
Because hemp's so versatile, and the industrial hemp, we assume there would be different grades when farmers harvested. Unfortunately, when farmers harvested, in 2019, and this was our experience and many others, the distilleries and processors that we contacted in the spring before we even planted, who said, yeah, we'll come right out and we'll just take it right there, weigh it, and we'll pay you for it. Well, those processors, come October, November, they were door shut. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we were forced to sell our very good hemp retail. And
it's not forced really. It's better for us because we can get our money out of the hemp this way. The other way, there's a lot of farmers that got burned. They give their product and didn't get no money.
yeah, they got almost nothing for it. And that was what the final outcome was. Well, we'll get your stuff. We won't give you much money for it, but yeah, we'll buy it. And it was sad. And it's just a wonderful medicinal and functional.
It's a healing.
We have a rope factory right here in Pilot Mountain with some interest in doing hemp and clothing with hemp. And as Tony was saying, this is sustainable. It's not like plastic or foam that's going to, hang around and be toxic. It's very useful, and it's unfortunate that we've learned the history of it. It was kind of taken out because someone with a lot of money did not want to compete with hemp for their paper products, for their type of products, and then plastics took off, in the 50s.
Well, I was going to ask you, Carey, what is the CBD thing or the hemp? I know it's two different things, but what do you attribute to the growth in the industry? It seemed at one point that these stores like yours or others around the region were popping up everywhere, or we saw more advertising for CBD related products or hemp. What do you attribute that to? Is it just people that are turning to
Yes.
more supplements, or what is it?
Turning to alternatives. Is
Yeah.
what it does. And I think right now there is a huge trust issue with professionals, with government, with people with money, that their end game is always about profit, eliminate information. And when people come to the store, they want to know about it. They want to know what it'll do for them. I can't really answer that. I can only say, this is the information. If you are taking a medication, you don't want to take it at the same time. You want to use like a grapefruit rule that you might have heard, where you don't want to combine these because your liver is going to make use of that CBD before it makes use of your medication. Your medication is going to wind up in your bloodstream, and not be made use of.
Right.
It's used for
Right.
a lot of things.
And you're asking about the CBD, and you see CBD everywhere now because people have found it. They say, I want to try it. And it's very easy to access. But then state to state, you have different laws about what they allow. In our store, we have a map of CBD law, cannabis law. We get asked about where you think it's going. We feel that right now, the feedback we get is they're just waiting to see what the federal government's going to do for our state. And then every state that's gone through recreational, from medicinal to recreational, they have all these growing pains about, who can sell it. Virginia right now, people are sort of, maybe I should be in Virginia, maybe I should look that way. Well, you can possess it, but you can't purchase it. Same way in Connecticut, they got to go to Massachusetts to buy, but there's nowhere to buy it.
Yeah, these drug companies, they keep the municipal out because they don't want us in, you know, because the opiates they make for a quarter it might hurt them. You know, they don't. It don't make no sense, but you know, there's scientists that it's a proven fact that, and from scientists that hemp and cannabis is a healer.
Right. We have an endocannabinoid system that they didn't really talk about until the 1990s, that your body actually uses cannabis, craves cannabis, and it helps with healing. Uh, and you're right, big pharma, there was a war on CBD. So at some point, a lot of CBD vendors had their accounts suspended. We did too, where they're saying, okay, we want to make sure what you are saying about your product. So we had to take off words like healing from our website, you know,
Right.
or smart to say, okay, you can make use of those funds that you collected. They held them. And I know I wasn't the only one who experienced that because there was a community of people that came through and said, yeah, I'm selling CBD, and all of a sudden I'm not getting my deposits coming through on my POS, my point of sale. And I learned that there is kind of a war on CBD because it does threaten big pharma.
Right.
And then folks
Yeah.
are learning more about, you know, the opioid crisis. So yes, they're turning to anything. A lot of information that I get on CBD and its effects are from psychologists and doctors who are working with addiction and trying to get folks away from that.
Right here's the problem. It's
Yeah, this is hemp clothing right here,
yeah, it's from fiber.
hemp fiber.
That's a shirt, a hemp shirt, which is
So it can be used for, you know, I remember reading and hearing about hemp, you know, it's been around for, you know, a century or more, and goes way, way back in history. But yeah, I was aware that some people are manufacturing fibers that are made into clothing and other things.
Well, I'm guessing that the country was founded on tobacco, hemp, and cotton, and all these products put together.
they make
And without
cocoa.
tobacco, you know, the United States may not have existed because that was the product that financed so much of the settling.
The rubber.
And
Right.
tobacco can be used medicinally as well. We know that they were studying how to make use of tobacco for pharmaceutical purposes. And I don't know what happened to that, but
Yeah.
it's just how it gets spun.
It's a heavily regulated industry. I know anything like this in the supplement area or you know, healthcare or alternatives and that sort of thing are scrutinized by the feds. And you know, I know that is oftentimes for industry is an uphill climb. Some of the other questions that have come up are, is the somebody asked, have you gotten pushback from the community, or have they embraced the new industry? And how can we tell the good products from the not so good products?
Okay, we got a lot of double takes. We still do when people ride by our awning. And
With the town, they opened us up.
but the town
Yeah,
welcomed, embraced it
Yeah.
because they wanted to be on the forefront.
right.
Right.
And
Right.
you had a question about what's the best way?
Yeah, there are apparently some of the studies and different things I've read is that there are some, I don't know necessarily hemp products, but I know on the CBD side that are either manufactured overseas or like any other product, there are good versions and not good versions.
Right.
Right.
And how do you guys deal with that? And obviously you're a local company and you know, buying from somebody local, but there are good providers of a product and not good providers. What's your advice to somebody about that?
Well, we did a podcast on that. Ask for the certificate of analysis. Ask for the COA, the certificate of authenticity, the certificate of analysis. ask for that, because you have to have your products
Yeah.
tested in order to sell them. And if you don't, then you're deceiving the public.
Right,
Uh,
right,
and you
False
do have to, you also have to communicate with the vendor. You have to trust, and we're going to be all about trust going forward. It's who you trust, and you have to do your own research. There are
Right.
there are a number of online vendors who will provide their certificate of analysis on the website. That's a good thing. I think that you should always just ask for that and where it's grown. There are plenty of distilleries around, and most of them are growing indoors. And I understand that that's what they have as far as their space, and they're doing their own type of cultivation.
right, right.
But we see the sun as the best source of.
Yeah, that's the most intense light that the earth has is the sun. And, you know,
Right.
you got 4 months of growing. That's plenty. And it likes the heat. Hemp likes the heat anyway.
Well,
He-
Carey, I was going to ask you if y'all have recommendations of a particular association or a website where if people are interested in hemp or interested in CBD, is there a kind of a well-known or trusted site that people could go to? Obviously, other than, you know, and obviously coming by and seeing you all to be educated about it, but are there other experts out there?
I would say your doctor's probably your best source. And if you
Okay.
don't trust your doctor, which, yes, that can be questionable these days. If
Right.
they're saying things that don't make sense, research. Everyone should research everything. Everything they hear on the news should be researched a number
Right.
of times through a number of sources. So
Yeah.
I say research.
We,
And
we have had people come in that
And-
mentioned it to their doctors. And
yes, and a lot of folks are coming in because their doctor suggested it.
yeah,
And we've had doctors that came in about cannabis, THC in particular, what they call marijuana, which is not a real name by any means. That is a name that was assigned by the government when they wanted to villainize cannabis.
we have a doctor that buys from us, and I won't give his name, but he does it. He does the old religiously. He does it. I mean, so
Right.
Well, when folks ask me, I say number one is know yourself, know your body. And if you're foreign to your body, which I think a lot of us are figuring out now, you can't just tell me something and that applies to me. You can't just say that there's a virus here and it's going to affect me a certain way.
Right.
Know your body. Trust your body. And if you don't, then get in touch with it. Stretch every morning. Stretching is the most important thing. And that's what folks are asking me about. Well, have you stretched? You need to do a good 20-minute stretch every morning, because that's the problem. Gravity. That's what's making us older. So public television has lots of resources for self help, and there's some really good resources out there. And CBD can help your body ease into a better program. But number one, know yourself